Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy, Mr. Clever Cadaver, coming at you with the Hard Truth Network, HTN. Okay, it's been a long time since I've done this. Sorry to leave y'all hanging. I swear I was in a spell where I wasn't even talking. Didn't feel like talking, you know. But I'm back now. A lot been happening. I mean, the biggest thing is I made a move out of the city I was in to another city. And it turned out to be a good move for the most part. And one of the reasons why I moved, the main reason I moved, the city I was in, they was having too many murders. And I'm an Uber driver riding around picking up people. So I'm like, you having a bunch of murders and I'm riding around picking up a bunch of strangers. That was leaving me a little antsy, to say the least. And then another reason, the city where I relocated to is like only 1 hour and some change away from where my family lives and where I grew up. So I say, hey, I get to see my family more often and everything. And I've been going home like at least once a month for the last about 6 or 7 months, which was a good thing, but I get to why that turned out to be not a good thing. Okay, but I moved to this city. It's a smaller city, but it's like a regional area. It's like 3, 4 cities in one. So all together, it's about the same size as the city I was in before. You know, and one area of this area that I live in, like I said, it's 4 cities. One city is just as bad with the crime and stuff. Even the city I'm in, like, it's known to have low crime, but every now and then things flare up. And then there's one area where I still get antsy. I get a little nervous when I'm out there, and I hurry on up and get out of there. It's to the point where like you're gonna end up in all 4 cities as an Uber driver. You're gonna be taken to all 4 cities every day, and it's a college town. And I'm actually making like double the money that I was making in the old city, which that's terrific. I'm in it to make money, you know, and everything. The thing is, people around here are kind of reserved. I mean, the college kids only deal with the college kids. You got the rednecks. They only deal with the rednecks. You got the rich people. They only deal with other rich people. You know what I mean? So I can't really say I've met one friend in the 7 months I've been here, except for, I mean, this place has a few like weirdos, like creepy type guys. Like Chris Hansen did a Catch the Predator series here. If he did, he would, it'll be booming. Cause one of the little areas where all the rich guys live at, where all the rich people live, they had to come up with a special task force because they was doing so much child pornography type stuff in that area. And it be these weird guys they be like married, I guess well-off white men that would just come up to a brother like me and like just try to be my best friend and be asking for my numbers. I think they want me to. It's either like on some homo stuff or it's on what they call a chuckle or something, where they like to watch you screw their wives or something. But it's like it been a few of them that just come up to me like they hitting on me, and I'm like, what the freak? I know I'm a good looking guy or whatever, but no. And it's like I ain't no rude guy, so I usually like conversate with them, and then just pray that they forget all about me. It's this one dude, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I sleep in my car, and I love it. Like this, I do it to save money. Like I don't have an apartment. I have a office, you know, that I go to, but I don't spend the night there. I go there like for a few hours in the middle of the night if I get kicked out of the airport. That's the thing right here. It's a real strict place. That's why it's known for low crime. Cause the police, they would ride your ass around here. And like everybody, there's a lot of Uber drivers that sleep in their car. And most of them do it at the airport. That's the safest place to do it. And it's strange because like at this airport, when I got here, the first 6 months, like I slept at the airport. It was no problem. Everybody else was out there. But then like the same guy that I'm talking about, the same white creepy guy, he was telling me that like the police is known to come out there and kick people out of the airport, you know, after the last flight come in, which is about 2:30 in the morning. But like I said, they never did it the first 6 months, and then all of a sudden, like they real crazy at the airport. Like they come in with like 5, 6 cops and K9 units, and they surround your car, and they say they looking for to make sure you got your Uber sticker. But I'm just like, I don't see why it takes so much. Why it take like a SWAT team to make sure we got our Uber stickers. They just like to harass us. I think it's jealousy. But long story short, it got to the point where like they started coming out there kicking people out of the airport at 2:30 in the morning or whatever. But I mean, I would just go to my little office. Like, you're not supposed to sleep there. And like they would kick you out if they catch you sleeping there. But I would go there and sleep. Like you can like go back at the airport. That's the thing. They kick you out at 2:30, and you can come back at 4 o'clock when the first plane about to land. Okay, so I just go to my little office, take a nap from 2:30 to about 3:30, 4 o'clock, then go back to the airport and finish napping out there. Okay, but either way, like I found another spot because I wanted to find an alternative to the airport. And like at the time, I wasn't even thinking about going to my office. And at the time, I didn't even have the 24-hour access to my office. Like you had to be out of there by 10. And then I ended up getting the 24-hour access. But so I found another little spot right outside of Planet Fitness. You know, and it was a nice little spot. And just so happened, this creepy dude that's always talking to me, this creepy other little Uber driver, that's always talking to me, like being overly friendly, that I don't like. I try not to park nowhere near him when we at the airport. Come to find out, he chose that same spot outside of Planet Fitness. And this Planet Fitness is like a whole nother town away. Like I said, this is like 4 towns. So this Planet Fitness is is one of them 4 towns, but it's not in the same town that the airport is. But somehow he discovered my same little spot. You know, look, this is like, it was voted like the safest place in America or something like that. You know, so it's like I feel safe there. But this dude found, out of all the people, out of all the places, this dude found the exact same spot that I found outside of Planet Fitness. So he goes there. You know, he seen me one morning, like, he didn't even say nothing to me then, but he waited till we got to the airport and was like clicking his heels together, all happy that he saw me outside of Planet Fitness. You know, ever since then I realized I didn't, you know, I couldn't use that spot no more, but I ended up finding another spot. You know, right now I got like 2 or 3 spots. You know, and like I said, I don't need to be nowhere but for like an hour and a half, then I can go back to the airport. You know, so I'm like, I'm good on that. It was worrying me at first. I was worried up because I'm like, when they first started kicking us out of the airport, I'm like, where am I supposed to go? But I was overthinking it. You know, now I got it together. Okay. But I know it's weird for someone to sleep in their car, but I mean, I love it. I started off with a big office in the previous place where I lived, you know, and I loved that. But, you know, people told on me. Some of the other tenants told on me, even though I was only there 2 days a week. They told her that they suspect I was spending the night there or whatever. I didn't get kicked out, but after about the third, fourth time of them telling on me, like I'm psycho, so I'm like, I better go ahead and leave before something happens, before I react. So I left, and then like I said, with the shootings and everything, I left just in time. Because my previous city went from 50 murders a year in 2018 to right now they're at 97, and they know they're going to hit 100. Like, it's like a new murder every day. Somebody just got murdered last night. Another person got shot and wounded. But then again, where I'm at now, somebody got murdered. I think 2 people got murdered this weekend. And another person got shot and wounded. Like, I'm black and I'm proud. But the biggest problem America got right now is these little young niggas running around shooting everything that moves. I've said it before, that's the biggest problem in this country. All this other stuff, it's a problem, but the fact that fellow Americans are getting gunned down by little domestic terrorists on a daily basis is like, what's worse than that? What's worse than the football game in New Jersey getting shot up, or all the shootings in Chicago? These are fellow Americans, But what was I about to say? Everywhere. I'm starting to see like it's no way to escape like this thug culture that got these little niggas running around shooting everything that moves. Like I said, I'm black and I'm proud, but the truth is the truth. I don't claim these little niggas. Those aren't my people. Like, they need to go ahead and do something about that. They need to go on somewhere. And I know it's their fault because they doing it, but I know it's also a brainwashing, conspiracy, whatever. Which brings me to my point. I've been studying something here lately. Something called TIs. T-I apostrophe S, and not the rapper. Okay, targeted individuals. Black folks in general are a targeted race. The devil in the human form is after black people, their mind, body, and soul, and spirit, and everything. Our sanity, our reality, our perception, our morals, our values. Very, very, very evil people have targeted us to make our race dehumanized, despised, hated, feared, and everything bad. And that's like all the images on social media and on the television and on the radio is all like promoting degenerate behavior. And it been that way for like the last, I say, since the end of the civil rights movement. But even before then, with the minstrel shows and everything, with slavery, Jim Crow, The Birth of a Nation, the original movie, where they just depicted black men as uncivilized rapists, and then like at the end of Jim Crow, they all them black exploitation films, putting us in porn videos and all that, you know, they have been dehumanizing us. And then it really got in high tilt boogie in the 90s with the gangster rap era, and then crack and all that, you know. Like, it been a campaign. We've been targeting individuals since slavery, pretty much. But then it's like it's to like an individual level of being targeted. And I'm starting to feel like I'm a targeted individual, you know. And like from what I've been studying, I know I'm a targeted individual. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give an example why, you know. Like back when I was regular, like right now I acknowledge that I'm not a regular individual. Like I operate at a higher level and at a higher frequency, you know. And I recognize that even if nobody else doesn't. you know. But it's like back when I was operating, I always was different. Let me go ahead and put that out there. I was always like operating on above average frequency, even if people knew it or not. I'm a Cancer. We deep thinkers. We calculating. You know, we real like detail oriented. You know, so but like I said, I always operate like I always could rap. Like people used to say, when I was 9 years old, people say I rap like a grown man. I could rap freestyle. I was real entertaining. You know, like everybody used to just hover around me and be entertained. You know, and it's like then I got into like I took a break from the rapping. I used to like rap, like record off of karaoke machines. I used to like I used to put like two cassette players together, one playing the beat and one recording with my vocals. And then as I got older, I had like an actual studio, and I got a studio now. Like I just released the album about a couple months ago. Okay, and I got into making beats. But the thing is, back when I was regular, you know, give me 1 second. Okay, back when I was just regular, like I said, I wasn't never exactly regular. Plus, like everybody in my neighborhood, like come from like a single parent home. I had both my parents, which is that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, and then both my parents was like they wasn't regular. Like my mom's a pastor, my father he's into everything. He was some of everything. But they both, I hate to say it, my mom's a little less crazy, but both my parents crazy as hell. They two Geminis, all Geminis crazy. But anyway, and then Cancers and Geminis is like oil and water, and then whatever. Like I said, like my story's deep and different. Okay, and like I was a leader, like coming up, like especially like I say from about 17 until I was 22. I was like the Dundada of my neighborhood. You know, I was like the president or the king of my neighborhood. Especially like with my rapping, I had rap groups. I had a studio. I started making beats. I make beats now to this day. One of the best beat makers they ever were. You know, and like one of the best songwriters they ever were. You know, and like like all the dudes that's game banging right now or whatever, or making hardcore rap or doing this, got this reputation. They all used to be my little like homies, or as we call them, like little goonies, little shooters. They used to be They used to be the little dudes that hung around. It used to be always right at 20 people hanging around my house. 20 guys, 20 whatever. It used to be 20 people at my house at all times. Like just people hanging around. Then I had like my actual close knit circle. Then like the whole neighborhood used to hang at my house, basically. You know what I mean? And I was regular degular, as they call it. I was just regular. I smoked weed. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay. I smoked weed, you know, and it just was what it was. Okay. I smoked weed. I made music about degenerate things. I was operating from a lower level to an extent, at least a lower level than where I'm at now. Even though I always put some smart stuff in my music, but I wasn't above like just getting straight ignorant with my music, cursing. Like I ain't have no home training, this and that. I put up with a lot of stuff. I was around a lot of things. I indulge in some things. It was regular hood stuff. I grew up basically in the hood. It was nice brick homes, but it was still, it was, it was like, it was a drug scene right there. And then right up, less than a minute away was like project homes with all the stuff that went on there. And I mean, it was the south side, the black area of the town that I lived in. But it was I grew up in what they considered the nice black area, but it was all surrounded by like hood stuff, and it was the hood. It was just hood activities, you know. Even though it was nice brick homes, it was the hood, you know. Anyway, so like I said, I'm right there in the midst of hood things. I was basically a hood dude, you know, and I was regular, and I got along with everybody. Like I said, I always had 20 people or more at my house. Whenever I went somewhere, my father used to always get on me and be like I had too many people with me when I went places. I rode with an entourage. How many people could squeeze in my car? That's how many people I had with me, you know, at all times. Okay, and life was good. I could get along with everybody. As soon as I started getting like enlightened to things, and I started like I stopped eating pork. That's one thing. Then like everybody smoked weed, and I used to smoke 3 blunts a day. Okay, then like I used to have spells where I would like stop smoking weed, you know, and this and that. It was like I just slowly started changing. You know, I started reading the Bible. Like I would be out hanging around straight hoodlums, killers and robbers and stuff like that, smoking weed, making music about killing and robbing, and then I would like go home and just had the urge to read the Bible, you know, which I'm not super religious and I'm not like taking the Bible literally and like no Bible freak, but I mean it's some good stuff in the Bible. Anyway, you know, it was like slowly but surely the people around me started changing. You know, it was like, oh, just like I started realizing, like, you know, I'm in danger. Like, not that I was actually in danger, but it was just like, wow, I'm hanging around. Like, the guys I was hanging around, it was nothing to wake up in the morning and something they have done was the top story on the news. Wake up in the morning, there they is, they mugshot on the news. I mean, this happened like in my immediate circle, my right hand man's in them. It was like my mom would wake me up, like, "Hey, you see what your your friend did last night?" And he'd be on the news. And this had not just one person. This had happened like 3, 4 times, like you know, 5, 6 times, and it was normal. And then I was always in trouble. I went to jail twice. I was always in court for this, that. I was always fighting some case, you know. And it was like I was regular. But soon as I like started like opening my eyes and opening my mind, it was like I was safe around them people, which I ain't saying they bad people, but it was like I was normal around them. Me being around them was nothing. And then it got to the point I was still hanging around them, but it got to the point where like my presence was like irritating them. Like when I would say something about something new that I've learned or some new ideal I had, or hey, weed ain't necessarily good for us, which I'm not a weed advocate. I know it's cool to be a weed advocate. Weed is so great. Everybody just need to be smoking weed, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not a weed advocate. I feel like the last thing us as young black men and young black youth need to be doing is sitting around stoned all day, not making no progress, not becoming more productive. When I smoked weed, I mean I made music, but even then, like to me, weed is not a good spirit because I mean when I was making like bad music, when I'm making let's just say devilish music, I could do it real easy off the weed. You know, when I started making like righteous type music, I couldn't do it off the weed. I would have to have a clear head. As soon as I would smoke weed, that that devilish music would start coming back out of me. You know what I mean? That's all I could. That's all that I could regurgitate was like sex, money, drugs, you know. But like anything righteous, anything like upstanding, I couldn't do it off the weed. Which I mean, I know everybody love their weed, so I'm not gonna dwell on that too heavy. But I would tell people like, do y'all notice that weed kind of taints your spirit? And nobody didn't want to hear it. I would quit smoking. They would say I was retarded. I was crazy. It just got to the point I went from like that dude, but almost like the boss man. It was a couple dudes over me, but I was like I was upper level. I was upper level management in the street going on, in the street politics that we had going on. I was upper level management, you know. And it was like it wasn't but like two dudes over me, you know. But it was like I went from that to all of a sudden I'm the laughing stock. You know, I just started slowly becoming the laughing stock of my group. Like I just became all that crazy, wild, talking dude who who had the audacity to say that we shouldn't be sitting around getting stoned all day. That's who I became, and then it just slowly, as I was like, as I would tell people, well, this music we listening to is tainting our soul and corrupting our kids, and I just started like my mind just started opening up to things, and I thought it was my place to spread it to all these people who looked up to me, or who I felt looked up to me, whatever, who thought highly of me. Let them know these things that I'm discovering in my mind. And I basically got laughed at, got called crazy, got called this and that. There was one time there was a robbery at the restaurant I was working, and I ran out the back door, and my name became my crew started calling me Reverend Run. You know, that dude was crazy. But yeah, so I just became Reverend Run because I guess because I preached all that stuff, and then I ran out the back door when we got robbed that time. You know, so I was Reverend Run. But whatever. So it was like I said, I slowly, and then like I ended up moving away. You know, moved out of my parents' home. I moved away like 3 hours away to a whole nother city. Started over. You know, and I started running into. I'm not gonna say like-minded people, but like I basically like where I landed. I ended up in a circle of Muslims. Like I said, I stopped eating pork about I say around 2000, 2001. So, and where I'm from is like the pork capital of the world. Everybody eats pork. The town was built off pork. You know, okay, it smelled like pigs. There's a pig slaughterhouse like right up the road from where I grew up, and then there's a famous barbecue place. So it's like the town, even the whole town smelled like pigs. I mean, which wasn't a bad smell growing up in it. It was just average, but if you're not used to it, you probably think that's a bad smell. But even going back now, it don't even smell like a bad smell because that's the smell you used to, you know. But anyway, so like I said, I spent all them years, spent about 3, 4 years of being this non-pork eating righteous. Well, I spent about 2 years. I've been stopped eating pork, but when I really started opening my mind, I say that was around 2003. So I spent about a good year as Reverend Run. I mean, trying to preach to everybody. I used to preach just non-violent. Stopped cursing in my music, started making non-violent type music, started preaching against violence and drugs and this and that. And it turned a lot of people off to me. Like I said, I moved away and I ended up in a circle of Muslims. And then, like, even with them, like, we had the same diet or whatever. And they looked out for me, like, they was cool. But, like, they really wasn't, they kind of followed their routine. They prayed or whatever. But, like, I can't say it was like they was on some crusade to save souls. I mean, I can't even say that I was necessarily on that. I mean, that's what I ended up on, but I can't necessarily say I can't honestly sit here and say that was the initial goal, but that's just how the that's how it unfolded. You know, I started feeling like that was my mission. I'd meet somebody new and I would tell them all these things or whatever, but like I said, it was always met with resistance. Okay, I'm babbling now, but let me get to the point. It's like it got to the point where it just seemed like everybody I would meet, it would start off good, then be like they turn on me on a dime. Like it would start off good, by the end of it, they have found a reason to become my arch enemy. You know, or they just I would have a friend. You know, it just got to even the Muslims that I met. Like we pretty much all I fell out with all of them, and I was always the same dude. I feel like I'm a very solid dude. Like if we're supposed to be friends, if you need a ride, you need a jump, you need to hold a couple dollars. You know what I mean? I got you. So it's not like I ever stepped out of line. My motto is if I ain't ever screwed your chick and they ain't never lied on you and they ain't never stole from you, then what's the problem? How can we have a problem? It was just like jealousy. Like throughout all of this, like like I said, men turned on me. When I say men, like no homo. But when I say men, I mean like people. You know what I mean? That's another thing. It's like even the chick before I moved, I had this one chick. I had a few chicks. Like I had a lot of chicks back then. But it was this one that like she would drink my bathwater, not literally, but she probably would have. But she was just head over heels in love with me when I was thugging, you know. And once I started changing, she started turning on me. It got to the point where before it was all over, she had maybe I did a little pillow talking, but I didn't really. I don't think I said too much. She asked me why didn't I. I was having problems at home. I remember like it yesterday. It went just like this. She asked me why don't I move with my homeboys. At the time, my homeboys was having problems at home, and one of them was living in his car, and the other one was living in a trailer with no power. So I was like, I can't live with them because one of my homies live in a car, one of them live in a trailer with no power. So how can I move with my homeboys? She went and told them that, and made it seem like I just be sitting around trashing them. When that wasn't the case, I just told her why I couldn't be living with, and like that kind of strained things even more. Like I got out of there just in time because things started getting crazy. Matter of fact, my crew, they broke in my car, stole my system a few times, and right at the end, my dog came up missing. And come to find out years later that they stole my dog and threw him in a ring with a pit bull and he got killed. You know, that's how serious things was getting. You know, so like I said, okay, fast forward. Now I'm in this new city, and it's like after about a year or two, everything was good until they moved this. Like the Muslims, they own the place where I worked, and like they just kind of took me in. But then they hired this little fine chick. She was kind of like mixed with like Asian and white, but she was a fine. She had like a black girl body. Like she had a real nice shape. Like she had a slim waist. She was slim thick. She was slim real thick. Like she had a slim waist, no stomach, and just like the thickest thighs. I ain't gonna say she had no big bodacious butt, but her thighs made it look like she had a big bodacious butt. Like everybody wanted her. Okay. And then she had like that olive skin, dark hair, dark eyes. She was a beautiful chick. She took a liking to me, you know. And it was like from that point on, all of the Muslim guys turned on me for the most part. You know, it got ugly. Like somebody actually pulled a gun on me. He pulled a gun on me. He ran towards me. Then it was one of their friends. It was a guy I didn't even know like that. He was one of the hang-arounds. I'm out taking out the trash. Next thing I know, he's running towards me with a gun in his hand, and he pointed it at me. But then and then he started laughing like, "No, I'm just playing with you." But I took that very serious, you know. And then it just became like one thing after another. All of a sudden, it's like I'm the laughing stock of the Muslim guys, and it's like things just started getting weird. All of a sudden, nobody. I could tell they really, like I said, God was blessing me. I had cars, I had an apartment, I still had my studio, I'm still making music, and it was like slowly they kind of jealousy started raising up in them, you know, and it's like, you know. So long story short, what I'm getting to is, it was like I said, everybody seemed like they would eventually turn on me, and I ain't understand it, like to this day. Until recently, when I started reading about targeted individuals, you know, and I had someone tell me, I had a psychic lady tell me that one time. She was like, it's not the people itself that's turning on you, it's the devil, or it's the spirit of, it's an evil spirit inside of, that gets inside of people that's around you. It's a spirit that want to get you, and the way that it get to me, that's this is what the lady was saying. The way that it gets to me is through the people around me. You know, she told me that, I kind of brushed it off until I started reading this stuff about, or started like getting into this stuff about targeted individuals. And now I'm totally convinced that I'm targeted. You know, it's like it's nobody I can get around for too long without like that spirit raising up in them. I don't care, homie, girlfriend, or whatever. I done had girls like was it like I said before, would drink my bath water, you know, and then like at a drop of a dime, they start acting a little weird, and then I already know the routine, and it's like I'm their arch enemy. It's not even that I'm their arch. It's like we will have a good thing. We will be hanging. We will be doing what we do. They be talking all this I love you stuff, and then it's like all of a sudden I don't hear from them no more, or I don't hear from them no more, and I call them and they like tell me to get lost, or I don't hear from them no more. Then I see them and they kind of look at me and roll their eyes, and it'd be like nothing happened. Like it'd be no event would have happened. I didn't do anything. You've been loving on me for the last 2 3 months. We was talking about eloping and having kids, and then out at like a light switch. I would just notice one day a funny look in their eyes or a funny vibe coming from them, and then it would be like they cut me completely off. And it used to like leave me like heartbroken. It's like I used to be heartbroken by like when stuff like that would happen. Or I would have like a homie. I would think I done met a new homeboy. We can go out, whatever, meet chicks or whatever. And like I said, it's like a light switch. Something will hit them. All of a sudden, I'm seeing jealousy in their eyes. I'll give you an example. Like I had this homie. This dude was engaged. This dude had kids. This dude all this and that. I don't have no kids. I'm not engaged. I met this chick, and me and her was hitting it off. But it was like this dude, like he damn he. I'm trying to think of the word. Like he wooed this chick. Like he came with his sweet. No, he basically came through and talked and romanced this chick. He knew that me and her had this thing, but like I'm like, you got your fiance, you got your kids, you got your whatever. Why are you going so hard on this chick that I'm talking to? Like we wasn't a couple, but we was like talking, and he just started like going hard on her. And it was like that a few different times. Like whenever I'm hitting it off with a chick, all of a sudden he come through with his best game, and all of a sudden him and that chick on the phone all the time, him and that chick hanging out. You know, it was like he was trying to block my blessing. You know, and it's like it seems like that's everybody's agenda. That basically sums it up. I can end it right there. Seem like everybody in my life, their agenda is to block my blessings.